How we doing, guys? Joe Drake here with LiveExercise.com. We're gonna bring it down a little bit today, and you guys are hopefully gonna get a little bit more out of our mobility workout, okay? So we're gonna go over the next couple of classes and sessions that we have, some different pieces of equipment that might be able to help you guys. Today we're gonna go through the foam roller. So some of you guys may or may not have used this before. Awesome piece of equipment, probably the best investment that I've ever made in my own personal health and fitness. And we're gonna go through, starting out, guys, first 5 minutes are gonna be, if you're looking to get in or out of a workout pretty quickly, we're gonna go through a little bit of stuff for the lower body specifically. And then those who wanna stick around for a little bit more, we're gonna take some time and kind of build this in and see how you guys can modify it and use it with stretches and really get the most out of it. So first thing we'll do is, you guys can see I'm already barefoot, so you guys might as well take those shoes off, and we're gonna come down to the ground. So as we're getting down here, guys, all your muscles are surrounded by what we call fascia. So sometimes that's what we get knots in, okay? So if you're feeling tight somewhere, that might be part of the reason. So hopefully this foam roller is gonna allow us to kind of realign and maybe get a little bit more flexibility and mobility out of those areas. So if you guys are going into or coming out of a lower body workout, area that's often tight for us is gonna be the ankle. And you guys can essentially, as we go through and you go through at your own pace, understand that we're gonna go with the muscle. So I'm gonna create a little bit of pressure and roll back and forth with my muscle. Right here, we're getting on our gastroc, so our calf, and also our soleus, so you got two calf muscles. And the more pressure you put on it, so right now if I've got both feet on the ground, it's gonna be a little bit easier, nice and easy up and down. And if I want a little bit more pressure, I can really take that other hand off the ground and put more in, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spend about 60 seconds on each muscle group. We'll go through just some of the bigger ones so you guys can jump into your workout or get in what you want us to do. And as you guys are going through, think about it. Deep tissue massage, are they flying through? No, taking our time, nice and easy. And if you find something, so for me, I've got some tight calves, and I find right here, got a little bit of a knot, so I'm gonna put a little bit of extra pressure down in, and I'm gonna sit on it, okay? So you might get a little bit of release after maybe 20, 30 seconds. So if you find some painful spots, sit on them. And you can even start to actually kind of roll against it, all right? So normally we're rolling up and down, taking your time, getting all the way up and down the calf. And if you find a spot that's giving you some trouble, maybe roll, call it mashing, going against the direction of those muscle fibers in there, back and forth, okay? So nice and easy each way. Good. So as you guys get better, you can spend a little bit less time, maybe even if you're going into a workout, as far as how much time you're going to spend on certain muscle groups. And good. And we're going to go ahead and start moving up the leg, all right? So idea, you can essentially do the same thing on any muscle group in the body. We're going to do it on our hamstrings now. So a pretty tight area, especially for a lot of guys out there. So if you're having low back pain or you're feeling tight going into a workout, same thing. Hamstrings go up and down. So I'll start out a little easier, just going up and down, and you can see I'm kind of rotating in and out. Those hamstrings aren't just right in the back. We're going to kind of roll around the leg. So take your time. We'll spend about 30 seconds on this side too. And just going through about 4 or 5 things here to start, you guys will feel so much better coming into and going out of your lower body workouts, really any workout. But really helps to, if you're coming out of the workout, it's helping flush out maybe a little bit of lactic acid or any byproducts that you've built up during your workout. And beforehand, maybe it's going to give us a little bit more range of motion. We get in some better positions. And good, nice job. There we go. So you guys saw we get all the way up to where your hamstrings come up and insert into your backside. And now we're going to come up on top, okay? So we'll see if I can do it without smashing the recorder as well. But your glutes, and I'm going to flip it over so you guys can see the opposite way. Your butt and your hamstring come up and meet together. And your glutes don't run just straight down. They come in at an angle. So we're going to kind of come off at an angle as well. You see the leg that I'm rolling on, that leg is straight out. Opposite one, my foot's on the ground. So this is just going to allow me to control how much up and down the outside of those hips. And guys, this is probably going to be where you want to spend most of your time, because we got a lot of muscles that come right into the side of that hip and all get tight right in there, okay? So you might feel a decent amount of pain. If you do, again, like I said, push down into it. Try not to make a gristle face, and just take your time. Nice, easy little roll out. There you go, guys. So a little back and forth. Like I said, I find a little spot in here, feels a little bit tighter. All right, so I'm gonna push down into it, maybe a little back and forth, and keep that going. So the other thing you guys might feel like, if you feel like you're rolling over a speed bump, that might be a good indication that you've got a knot there as well. We call them hot spots. It's just maybe that fascia has gotten stuck to itself or maybe stuck to the muscle, and so we roll around it. Magic trick here, if you want to make it a little bit more intense, you can bring this foot up on top and do the same thing. Roll out the side of that hip. There we go. Good, nice and easy back and forth, and good, nice job. So we're gonna pretend I just did that leg, and now we're gonna roll through the same thing on the opposite side. So you guys start down on the calf on the opposite leg, and you guys should have a little bit of an idea now of what we're trying to get through. And take your time, nice and easy, up and down. There we go. So big debate out there, guys, whether you should do a lot of static stretching before working out or dynamic stretching. Important piece is that you guys, if you have areas that are tight in your body, do some things to help you make sure you're going to prevent injury. Foam rolling is a great one. All right, so it's putting a little bit of time into getting yourself feeling good before you go in. So again, remember, the calf kind of goes all the way around the leg, so you don't just roll the back. We're going to roll the inside of the calf. So I find a little spot here, so now I'm going to just push down, and you can't see it, guys, but I'm really driving that leg down into the foam roller. Nice and easy back and forth. There we go. That's a little bump. And good. You guys will be surprised. A lot of problems start from the ankles, even back pain. Everything comes up through the ground. And good. Nice job. Easy way to do this on your own too. Obviously, I want you to do it with us, but is set a timer. You know, do at least 30 seconds, if not a minute, on every muscle group. So once you get into your hamstrings, just set a timer on your phone, maybe a little interval timer. Roll back and forth. Getting inside and outside, and again, if you find a spot, maybe roll back and forth on top of that spot. Maybe put a little bit of extra pressure down in. There you go. Good, because again, we want to start out rolling with the muscles. So in our hamstrings, those muscles run for the most part up and down, and then go against it if we need to, okay? So again, pretend I'm on the opposite leg now, and you guys can go ahead and get that opposite glute now. So roll on the outside of that butt. Guys, especially if you have a seated job, you guys are at a desk all day, maybe you're not moving a lot, I guarantee you this is probably an area where you're, oh, Joe, stop it. But in all reality, the more you can take your time, nice and easy, roll over that area, good, it's gonna make a little bit more length in there too, okay? So we're gonna spend another 15, 20 seconds here right on that glute. We're gonna flip it over, we're gonna get our quads and our hip flexors, and then those of you guys who are trying to get into or get out of a workout quickly, you guys can be sent on your way, and the rest of you guys can hang out with me a little bit longer. So nice and easy, back and forth on the side of that hip, and good. So you guys can see from right where I'm at, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll my body over on top of the roller, and now all I'm trying to do, and you guys will see when I'm down there, we're trying to get right on top of that leg, okay? So we're gonna go right on top of what we call our quad. Hip flexor comes up and attaches into that hip, and I'm just going to put some body weight down, all right? So to start out, until you feel how that feels, keep the other leg on the ground too, and you can come down to the elbows and start out right up near the hip. All right, so really get right into where your hip comes up and attaches into your, we call it your pelvis. So coming up into almost where your abdominals are. And that is an area definitely, you guys think about it, if you're seated all the time, anything that's shortened stays that way if you're not putting some energy into lengthening it. So, and we'll talk a little bit more in the extended piece about why that is. So good. So the idea, take your time, roll all the way up and down that quad. So your quads also kind of run up and down the leg, that top portion of your leg, taking our time. And you can even kind of get onto the outside. So again, your quads come around the leg. So we're going to kind of get in and out on all the different angles there too. You want to make it a little bit more intense, bring that back leg up. That's going to straighten or essentially lengthen the quad. And good, nice job. All right, so we'll get that on the opposite side, and then that'll be the last for those of you guys who want to get into your workout. You guys should definitely start to be feeling a little better. So again, we're getting on top of that quad first. I'm going to start one leg off to the side, so it's a little easier if you come towards that end of the roller, and then take your time, roll down, nice and easy, right back up. So we're going to put, if you want a little bit more pressure, just going to put a little bit more weight into that leg. Good, rolling up and down. Straighten it out, maybe get up into your hip flexor, that top portion of the hip a little bit more. 3, 2, nice job guys, and good, there we go. So those of you guys who are trying to get in and out, there you have it. You guys got a couple things, something easy routine you guys can use to feel good before or after those workouts. For the rest of you guys, go ahead and stick around. We're gonna start going back through some of that and combining them in with stretches as well. So those of you guys who are out of here, awesome. We'll see you guys next time. Everybody else, stay with me. Let's go ahead and actually get right back into the calf here. All right, so like I said, there's certain problem areas throughout the body. Most of us are gonna be tight. Ankle tends to be one of them, okay? So if we can get a little bit more flexibility and length in the calf, that's gonna give us more motion, and that's gonna affect things that travel all the way up and cause low back pain. So we got ankles, we got hips, and hips, I'm gonna say a little bit of our glutes and our hip flexors, so we're gonna spend more time on all three of those. First one being those calves, all right? So we're gonna get back into it. We're gonna spend a little bit more time what I call mashing. So getting into any areas that you really feel any type of pain and really pushing down. So you guys might not see it very well, but push down hard into the roller. If you guys happen to have what we call a super buddy, maybe some great friend who could actually push down and give you some more pressure. Most of us probably don't. But rolling back and forth. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start to combine these with actual stretches as well. So not only rolling that area out where we might get a little bit more length. Let's get one or two more on this side, and then I'm gonna get the same thing opposite ankle. But then we'll combine it in with some stretching too. There we go. So again, it's all about putting a little bit of extra time into not only your recovery, but preventing injuries. You guys wanna be able to work out and do these things every day. So again, you can use that opposite leg, some of your leverage, and you guys can see I'm bringing my butt up off the ground. That's gonna put a little bit more weight in the leg. And the slower you go here, the better, okay? Taking your time. Push, push, push. Roll. Nice and easy down. And you can tell, I'm telling you, if you guys go a little bit slower, you're gonna feel some things that maybe you didn't to start with. Yeah, there we go. Because all these muscle fibers, you got hundreds and thousands of muscle fibers in there too, so it's only a matter of time before you get some knots or some hot spots in some of them. So, good, nice job. We spent about another minute on each one. And now what we're gonna do, I want you guys, if you got a wall nearby, jump up to your feet, and we're going to use that wall as well, okay? So we're gonna come back. Guys, I want you to start out getting into traditional calf stretch. This might be something that most of you guys are pretty familiar with, where we're pushing our weight into the wall, and I'm trying to keep that heel glued down to the ground, okay? So that motion right there, we call that dorsiflexion. So really we're just seeing how much range of motion at the ankle. So we're gonna start there. We're gonna do two things from here. First one, once we've got a stretch going, I'm just gonna shift my hips back and forth, side to side. So I'm not rotating much, I'm just moving the hips side to side, and what that's gonna do, guys, that's gonna force us to get a little bit more of a stretch really on the insides and the outsides. So we have the soleus that comes down and attaches right down into that Achilles tendon. And we've got connective tissue around it too. So we're just gonna spend about 30 seconds back and forth. So there's some magic. If you guys can start to combine a little bit of foam rolling, which we call myofascial release, because we're trying to get a little release in the fascia. With some movement, you're gonna start to heat the body up a little bit. All those tissues get a little bit more pliable, and we're gonna get some more movement. All right, so that's good on this side. Last thing that we're gonna do here too, this one, we're gonna bring the opposite foot up off the ground. So I'm in a hamstring, or a little calf stretch here. And now as I'm gonna do just a light swing of the leg side to side, all that does is my foot's stuck to the ground. Now I'm getting a little bit of torquing back and forth on that same connective tissue that's down there in the ankle. So I get a little stretch, and then just a light swing back and forth. So it's a little more extreme than that first one. And if you guys are dying here, just stay in the calf stretch, totally fine. 4, 3, and good. And we'll hold just for a couple seconds more. You guys can probably realize at this point in time, you probably got a little bit further forward. 3, 2, and good. Nice job. There we go. So we're there for a little while. Generally, if you guys want to get any long-term change in the length of a muscle or a tissue, we're thinking like 2 minutes, okay? So that was probably about 2 minutes. We were moving, stretching, and then we were holding it, but you want to combine the both. And then we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So we get into a good calf stretch. Even if you need to just hang out here to start, that's totally fine. And then as we start to get a good stretch there, let's move those hips back and forth, side to side. Keep that heel glued down, and you guys might feel that big stretch on the outside if you happen to be tighter. If you don't have tight calves, this might not be something you have to spend a lot of time with. But most of us could use a little bit more range of motion, driving those hips side to side. 4, 3, and good. Reset yourself. Keep that heel glued down. And then we're going to bring the opposite foot up. And again, we just combine a little bit more movement. Now what we don't want to see is we don't want that foot to turn, okay? Because now we've come out of the calf stretch. So make sure that foot stays right there. And the movement is just going to be a challenge, okay? So it's just trying to torque that a little bit more in through the ankle, driving that knee up to the side. 4, 3, 2, and good. Nice job. Let's just push in and hold for for maybe about 10 more seconds. There we go, nice big calf stretch. And I can feel it's definitely released a little bit more, especially coming from someone who does have some tightness in the ankles and in the calves. And there we go, good guys, nice job. Guys, that right there, that's the essence of any type of corrective exercise. So whenever I'm working with clients or other trainers, that's all it is. It's a little bit of getting some length in through that tissue and then going in, stretching it out as well, okay? So one thing I want you guys to see as we go into these next few is the importance of your hips, okay? So we're gonna go ahead, we'll make it simple and easy, but I want you guys to see your hips are essentially a bucket, that's it, all right? So we're gonna call this the front side of your body and the back. And what we're gonna work on, you guys think, the back side of your body, what do you have? Well, you have your butt and your hamstrings that are pulling down. And in the front, you have your hip flexors and your quads, just like I have here, hip flexors, quads, butt, hamstrings, all right? So if any of that's tight, it's gonna pull on that bucket. So we think about this bucket as having water. If we've got water spilling out one way or the other, you're probably gonna have some pain and you're probably gonna be missing out on some strength. So what do? We're gonna look, if you might have tight hamstrings, which is common, we're gonna roll them out and stretch them. So we're gonna roll the hammies. Obviously, don't have the best handwriting. And then same thing, quads and hip flexors. So you may have one, you might have both, but just giving you guys an idea why we're working this way, okay? So again, if you guys have tight hamstrings, no wonder. Guess what attaches at the top? Low back, all right? So that's low back pain right there. That's what we're trying to prevent. So let's go ahead. We're gonna get right into the hamstrings again. And I'm gonna show you guys a little bit more because the hamstrings, on the back side of the leg, everything's going to work together. You also have muscles that come up on the inside of the leg, so we have adductors and abductors. So we're going to get rolling into those too and try to get some flexibility there as well. All right, so if you guys want that hamstring, which we started with, I'm going to go ahead and take the leg off the ground now. And as we work through real slow, I'm going to start to really now over-exaggerate and get on the inside. So work some of the inner thighs as well as my hamstrings. It's all going to tie in and work together, so I want to make sure I'm even pushing down with my hand. Nice and easy back out. And you can just keep the other leg relaxed, you know. If this is tough for you guys, you're holding yourself off the ground, come down, relax for a second. You can do some things with the body on the ground. But if you really want to get more out of it, especially if you've been foam rolling and you're trying to get a little bit more from your routine, same thing, straighten that leg and good. And then really getting into, we call it stickiness. So this is right where your hamstrings and your glutes come together and those hamstrings come underneath right on top. You'll feel, if you're up on top of the roller, it's almost a little notch in your hip. Okay, so spend some time there, and that's where you might start to roll back and forth. So getting the inside and outside as you transition up, okay? And then we're gonna get a little bit on the outside. And for those who might have tight IT bands, so for those of you who even know what an IT band is, the IT band runs all the way from the hip down to your lower leg. Gives you some structure on the outside. If you're a runner, this might be a painful area. So we're starting to get into that. We're not going to quite get into it yet before we do some more hip, but right on the side and good. Again, I'm pushing down here a little bit and we're going to get right into that hip. So good, you guys can come now up on top. And so if you guys were to see a lot of muscles that come insert right on the side of your butt right here. So if someone were to push in, you guys get a massage. That's an area where a lot of you guys are going to have tenderness. And so we're going to just try to roll on that side just a little bit more. And I'll show you what we're going to do. We'll get it on both sides, and then we're going to get a hamstring and a hip stretch. That's going to be great for you guys. Open everything up a little bit. Good, so roll right over the top of that hip. Yep, there we go. If you find that little sticky spot, again, you can open this up a little bit. All that does, rotating that hip, opens it up, kind of exposes that area a little bit more. There you go. That feels good. This is probably one of my favorite ones, definitely lower body-wise. One that impacts me a lot, definitely gets me into a better squat, helps with my lunges, helps prevent any pain in my back from being on my feet all day if I'm training lots of clients. And good, nice job. We're gonna do the same thing the opposite side. Getting into that hamstring here too, pushing down. We're going inner and outer leg. It's the same thing. So even if you guys are doing longer and you're going through all these, set a timer. Maybe you spend a minute or two on each one, especially if you need it. So if you find that your hamstrings are really painful, that means you probably need it more in that area. If it's not really bothering you much, you know, then it's not an area you need to focus on as much. And starting out with your rollers, this is a phenomenal. The fitness gear is a great one to start with. It's firm, but it's not too hard. Once you get used to it, for example, like when I roll on a daily basis now, I use more of a PVC pipe, which is not forgiving, but it really, really gets into those muscles a little bit more. So as you get more accustomed to it, or if you're a little bit more dense in muscle tissue, you might need something a little bit harder. But this is really a great place to start. Because even for me, I can tell, like, it's foam on top, but it's got a nice dense core. So it's not giving too much on this hard floor as well, okay? All we've done now is we've moved up from the hamstring. We're getting into the outside of the butt now, so I just rotate myself to the side, kind of like this 45-degree angle, and then roll around on the outside of the hip. There we go. Nice. Kudos to you guys for putting some time in and doing this right now. Roll on the outside, there we go. And so again, I'm right where I felt like I went over something, almost like a little road bump. There we go. Really kind of pushing into it. That's the stuff. Like I said, gristle face. Ugh. Open that hip up. We can go ankle on top. There we go. The more you guys get used to doing this too, you guys will find there's essentially do it throughout the entire body. You know, there's no right or wrong way of doing it except for going on to the low back. So we'll go 3, 2, and good. Nice job. So the only thing we worked out on those two, hamstrings and glutes, okay? So hamstrings and glutes. It's gonna help a lot here too. We're gonna come up, and I want you to see how we do it, because we're gonna do hip flexors after this as well. But we're gonna go through a little bit of a moving stretch now. So this is the same thing. You guys could use this as a warm-up. It's actually a great warm-up, especially post foam roller. But from getting down in this position here, so we're gonna go, back knee can stay on the ground because we don't have to be too active. My hands are down inside the foot, and you can see that knees come right up next. Now, if you were to look at this, this is actually kind of the same position you should be in when you squat, right? So we're working some of that. And now that we've rolled out a little bit of our hip, we should have a little bit more range of motion here. And we did some hamstring and some inner thigh too, which is also, everything in this hip is getting stretched out. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna start out right here, and you can rock those knees out side to side. All that's doing, guys, is it's making that leg rotate inside of our hip capsule. And you can probably feel, especially on the inside of that thigh, you're gonna get a nice big stretch. The further down you can drop your body in. So especially if we're going pre-workout, you guys don't necessarily need to just hold the stretch for a long period of time, right? So especially if we're gonna be here 1 to 2 minutes, let's move around a little bit. Get a little bit more motion into that hip, so rocking the knee out to the side. And now, only thing we're gonna add in is we're gonna stay right down in here, and then we're going to walk ourselves back, straighten out the leg, and now we're into a hamstring stretch, okay? And we're gonna go back and forth. So since we're not really holding the stretches, this is a great one where we're gonna continue to alternate between hamstring and hip. So we climb forward, chest comes up a little bit, and then rock back. We can do this 2 ways. So you can either sit all the way back on the foot, that might be uncomfortable for some, or you can stay up a little bit more and just straighten the leg. Either way, we're flexing the toe, so that's gonna lengthen out and stretch the calf, also the hamstring. Nice and easy back and forth. And as you're feeling good, you can pick up how fast we're moving. So good. You guys, let's take about 15, 20 more seconds to go through this here. You wanna make it a little bit more, you can even come up with the body and straighten out. So here I'm getting a little bit more of a push forward, chest up, dropping back. There we go. 3, 2, and good. Nice job. There we go. Stretch, switch opposite side. Same thing. So you guys might feel on that one too, which is gonna be what we do next. If you've got tight hip flexors, so this area of the body, if you feel pushing forward, you're, ooh, that's tight, that's your hip flexor, okay? So it comes across over the hip, attaches up above. So you're getting a stretch here too, and I want you guys to feel, we're gonna do it again after rolling on this next one. So again, that's one of those muscles that's attaching to that bucket of water, and if it's tight, it could be pulling down on it. So we'll start again, just rocking those knees out side to side. Bring yourself in between. It's okay if yours doesn't look like this, or if you're great, you're way down here. This is not my best area either, but we're just rocking out side to side. Do your best to get that hand all the way, or that foot all the way up next to the hand, and hands inside the legs. So we're rocking side to side. I might even shift back and forth. And then now we're gonna go right into that hip stretch to hamstring stretch. You guys can see we straighten that leg out as much as we can. So if you find yourself right here, you definitely got some tight hamstrings. Try to straighten it out, flex the toe up. Try not to cry. And rock it back. Good, nice job. Pushing forward, pushing back. You want a little bit more, bring that face down towards the knee. So as I push forward, rock back. Good, nice job. And again, you can make it a little different if you want to come, chest comes up, stretch that hip, straighten it out, hamstring. And we'll get about 5 seconds left. 3, 2, and good. Nice job. There we go, guys. All right, so last thing I'll show you guys real quick is just going to be for the hip flexors. All right, so we did a little bit before, so we won't have to spend too much time, but it's just on the front of that body, especially up right where our hips connect. And we're going to go ahead and go right into the more intense version where I'm bringing this up. So that already lengthens the muscle. So if I'm rolling back and forth, right now my other foot's on the ground. If I want a little bit more, I can bring my whole body up. Lots of weight coming down in. Doesn't take a lot of time here getting into there. Right into your hip flexor. We can roll through, do it both sides. But really what I want you to do, especially if you guys have the time, is take your time, do this, go back into your hip flexor stretch that we're going to do right now, and see how you feel. And good, nice job. So only difference on the hip flexor stretch now, right back in that position we just were. Now we're going to stay tall, and when we do, I want you guys to think about squeezing your butt on this side. So squeezing that butt and then driving the hips forward so you guys can kind of see it. It even helps to bring the chin down. That's going to really stretch out that hip flexor here, okay? And you'll feel. So you can drive forward a little bit, back and forth. That hip flexor, big drive of those hips. Obviously, we're going to take some time, do it on both sides, driving those hips, squeeze the butt, stay tall. There we go, guys. So you can see, guys, there's so much more we can do with this piece of equipment and how we can integrate it in with our flexibility before, after sessions. Easy test for you guys next time as well. Go through, let's say you're going to do squats for the day. Go through a set of bodyweight squats, and let's do it barefoot since that's how you're going to be. See how your body feels, all right? Then go through, do the routine that we just did, do it again. I promise you're going to get more range of motion, all right? So it's all about taking care of your body, getting the most out of your workouts with this AliveExercise.com. So plenty more great equipment as well as mobility videos to come. Hope to see you guys back soon, all right? Take care.